I'm Ronda Rich. I'm a native Georgia in 11 generations, best-selling author. I come from the foothills of the Appalachians and I also write a syndicated weekly newspaper column that's about the South that's seen through the eyes of its people. Well, my degrees are in journalism and broadcasting, so I've wrung every bit of usefulness out of my journalism degree. I've been in newspapers and marketing and public relations. I worked in radio and television, and now I write books. I actually started with high school football games. I am the first woman to cover SEC football full-time, and I am told by the University of Georgia I'm still the only woman that has covered them full-time. That there are other women who have come in to do color stories or, you know, to do bits and pieces. And then I went into NASCAR. But what shaped me in NASCAR was that that sport was filled with some of the greatest storytellers you've ever heard. I mean, get Richard Petty started on a good day, and he can tell you every detail. He'll say, and as I was coming across the third turn of the fourth lap, I saw, and you know, we sat on a bunch of Goodyear tires in between practice, and I just listened to these guys tell stories. And I learned so much about storytelling, and still to this day, my favorite friends go back 30, 35 years. Many of them still NASCAR legends. Darrell Waldrop's one of my dearest friends. Richard Petty is my dearest friend. I mean, Richard Childress. Although I love Richard Petty. But they still tell the best stories, and just, it's incredible to hear the stories, and you wouldn't believe those things really happened. And another saying that I have at our house is, if we're going to tell history, did we betray it or did we portray it? And, you know, today, and not as much in the written word, although in nonfiction, fiction, people will stretch too much, and history gets distorted and lost. So we try not to. If it happened on the 9th of June, it happened, I mean, Ode to Billy Joe happened on a dusty Delta day on the 3rd of June. It wasn't the 4th of June. You gotta stay with those. I'm a Princess Diana fan. I went to London for her funeral, and I can tell. I can look at something and went, pfft, that is so not true. That so did not happen. I think we have an obligation and a duty going forward to keep everything truthful and honest and filled with integrity and ethical. The Southern accent is disappearing because kids listen to their video games, their iPhones and TV, and we want to hold on to what we have. We want to hold on to trees that have live moss growing from them, and farmhouses and barns, and stories that tell who we are and where we came from. We're getting so many generations departed from it. When the Scotch-Irish came over and originally settled down through the Appalachians, one thing that they had always been taught in Northern Ireland, Scotland, where they were from, was to pass down family history orally. And a lot of times they repeated it word for word or word. It was like a poem that you learned, or a Sunday morning hymn. And then we got away from it and adding our own embellishments. But yes, and I find that people don't listen like they used to. If you're at a dinner table and someone asks a question, you'll start to tell us the answer to it, and they're off on something else or distracted by their iPhone. And it's doing a lot of damage to us as a society. Now, it's been wonderful being in Newnan, Georgia, and what a beautiful town this is. And y'all have done a fantastic job of keeping it, as Alan Jackson said, a small town Southern man, as he said in that song. This is just, actually what Alan Jackson writes about is about a town that's more beautiful than most small Southern towns are. So he had some really good material to work with.